Welcome back to Car Dad Bill. This week we have a electric car. So let's unplug and go for a ride. Welcome back. Here we are with the Mach-E from Ford. First electric car they've made, so let's take a walk around the outside and see what's going on. First thing you're going to notice is the lack of grills and the lack of traditional front end styling, because there is no need for a grill. There's no airflow to the engine to cool anything, so it's closed up. Has a couple little things in the front to let some air underneath the car and around the sides of the car. LED headlamps up front with really sharp projector housings. Mustang up front with the camera for your around view and your forward collision alert and all that. Following the body lines down the side. Your door for the electric charger. Your Mach-E. This is the 4X. So it's the all-wheel drive extended range battery. One thing you'll notice is it's really streamlined. Lots of airflow, really fast back coupe design. Cool buttons for the doors. I love this stuff. I love how it opens and closes. I think that's super sharp. Same with back here. Hit the button, opens up the door. Up top is a glass paneled roof with no shade, and we'll talk about that more as we get inside. Following the body though, around back, fast back design, coupe design, no exhaust pipes for obvious reasons. You can lift the tailgate back here with the button that opens up, and it's a hatchback, so there's a good amount of space back here. Those seats fold down, and you have a good amount of room back here for anything you need, and that stows underneath for later use if you don't want to have that there. I've been using it a lot, so it's sitting there. Button up top to close it. That's the exterior. Let's jump inside the cockpit so you guys can see all the cool features on the interior of the Mach-E. All right guys, we're on the inside. I'm gonna turn it on so you guys can see this thing fire up and all the animations that happen during that. So up front here, we have the instrument display with your speed, the radar, and your range. Most important thing, right? And in previous posts I've been putting on here that I have battery anxiety, and I do. This car has a good range and it holds its charge for the most part, but around Pittsburgh and around the surrounding areas where we live, the battery seems to die quicker because of the hills and whatnot. And see that little logo right there that says, it has like the foot? That is called one pedal driving. And it's really cool around town because you don't have to use the brake. You can literally just, it's like a tractor. It drives like a tractor. Here's the dash, Mustang logo, large screen, enormous screen. And in here are all your different settings. This is where you can set the one pedal drive. This is where you can change the lighting. You can have sounds when you hit the gas pedal. All your assistance and different modes here, settings. Switch over to your sound, your phone, the vehicle, all kinds of things. Everything is in here. Your HVAC's at the bottom. So when you need to change the temperature, that drops up and it makes it a up and down wheel. Or you can use the plus minus as well. Over here, changes the vents, brings up the entire screen. So now you can change your vents to what you would like. Drops back down. Your heated steering wheel's down here. Volume control. Turn on the radio, turn off the radio. And then anything that you're using switches to up there. And then as this moves down, switches back up, that moves over. Really cool animations, really nice to look at. Here's your different drive modes. So engage is kind of a normal setting. Whisper is a little bit more of an eco setting. And then unbridled changes the car into like a sport mode. So it makes it go faster, makes the throttle more responsive. Also changes the lighting that's down underneath the wheel well, or the footwells and on the doors. This car comes with the Bang & Olufsen sound system, B&O sound system. So anywhere that you see that kind of fabric is gonna have speakers. Back here is the same thing, speakers. One thing I do that does annoy me is in Teslas and other electric cars that I've seen, this icon shows you when your brakes are on. When you let go of the pedal, when you're doing the one pedal driving and you're driving along, you let go of that pedal, the brake lights show up on there so you know that you're braking behind you. So the cars behind you have the brake lights on. This one does not indicate that, and I wish Ford would add that maybe to the next generation Mach-E if possible, or their next electric car. The other thing also is this paneled roof is gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but there's no way to close a shade and it doesn't open. So it's just a window and it is what it is. The regular controls for your lights right there. And over here, what I find is pretty neat, normal switches, right? This is your door latch. That's how you get out. And I think that's really cool. It's not a latch up here. It's not a button. It's a sweet ratcheting door opener. Pretty neat, pretty cool. Cruise control settings, your volume and your track selections. So standard features in the car are pretty much the same as in any other car. You have your rotary gear selector, your parking brake, your parking assist, your cup holders, your wireless charging here underneath the mask, your plugs up front there to charge. You can either use a USB or a small mini USB port, but it's really minimal and it's very smooth and stylish. I definitely like the interior. I definitely think it looks nice. It's definitely functional. And after driving it for a week, I've definitely gotten used to it. There's a little bit of some textured plastic in here that looks really nice. The vents kind of blend in. This with the other plastics, it looks pretty sharp. I give it a thumbs up, definitely, for the interior styling. The seats have nice contours to them. It's just a nice looking interior overall. Let's go for a ride on the road and talk about that. All right, guys, so I'm gonna take a ride. All you have to do is flip it to drive and start going, and it just starts rolling. Now I have it in one pedal drive right now, so anytime you let go of the gas pedal, you're going to lose momentum, and it's going to use the braking system and the friction of the tires on the road to slow you down so that you don't keep rolling. And it uses that to kind of regenerate the power back to the car. That's kind of the function of the one pedal drive. And it makes it a lot easier. It's smoother. It's if you've ever driven a tractor with the same kind of transmission, that's exactly how it feels. The more throttle you give it, the more it goes, the less throttle, the braking starts to happen. And the taillights come on. And like I said earlier, it doesn't show the taillights in the display. And that bothers me, but it's not something that's, you know, a deal breaker by any means. I guess my overall impression of this car is the driving feel. It definitely drives like a normal car. It has the power of the electric car that you're looking for. It has the smoothness of a refined car. It's really quiet inside. I have another vehicle that I'm driving this week as well that I'm kind of comparing it to for fit and finish and sound and all that. And this Ford definitely feels more refined than I expected. The only drawbacks that I've noticed on this car so far is the battery anxiety, which I think I'll get over after a while. Once you learn where to go to charge it and how the charging networks work, and if you get an installed system into your home, then you know that kind of maybe goes away. But that's just my personal feel right now, is that it's kind of an uncertain feeling, not knowing how long it's going to take and when I need to charge and all that. So a couple quick notes too about how the battery lasts, if it doesn't last, things like that, where you're driving and whatnot, also impacts your overall battery usage and the long-term effects on that. So if I'm driving around town, suburban, urban, city, driving, there's not a whole lot of discharge on the battery per se. It does still, obviously, because you're using the battery and using the engine and you're moving along the motors, but you're charging it more when you're doing your slowing down to stopping, and it's hills can help with that as well, going down hills. So you're kind of using, replenishing. When you drive on the highway, you take the one pedal drive off. That makes the car roll a little bit better. So that adds to your mileage on the highway at higher speeds. But at higher speeds, you're also going to lose charge better because you're constantly using the motors. Battery's constantly being discharged, and that's how that works. So while it's not foolproof by any means, it's definitely different. It's a different overall driving experience. I mean, I don't know if you guys can hear the background noise right now. I'm driving on 51 at about 45, 50 miles an hour, and it's quiet and it's smooth and it's uninterrupted, and there's not a lot of drama. I've had passengers in the car for a few days now that have never been in electric cars before, and they all seem to think it's really nice and they like it. So, I mean, I think Ford did a good job on this. In comparison to other Teslas, I've only been in a Tesla 3 and a Tesla Y. So in comparison to those, I think it ranks right up along with them. And if you add the all-wheel drive option and the extended battery, I think you could get over the anxiety of having to charge it all the time and maybe not taking so long. I mean, I'm charging it on a regular house plug, and it takes hours upon hours, tens of 15 hours to get a couple percentage charge. So that's a little bit undesirable in that regard, but I took it to an EV charger at Sheetz, and it charges it way faster. So there's give and take, I guess, with that. Coming up to the highway up here, I'm going to jump on the highway just so you guys can hear the road noise, whatever there is here. It's not a lot by any means, but I want to let you guys see and hear what it sounds like. I'm turning off the one pedal drive, so the car is actually going to roll a little bit more. I'll have to use the brake to actually slow the car down. It doesn't slow down on its own without the one pedal on. It does have a little bit of friction, however, without the one pedal drive engaged. So there is some friction and some stopping, but the power is instantaneous. You kind of have to watch your foot. But here we go, on the highway, full throttle. Has a little bit of a propulsion sound, like an electric car sound, I guess is what it is now. Man, is that smooth. Smooth, even. With the all-wheel drive, you have no issue getting traction. And I've been putting this car kind of through its paces with the all-wheel drive. I've been putting it in the sport mode, which is called unbridled on the Ford, and giving it throttle around bends, coming out of corners, entering in corners a little bit more aggressively, and it definitely drives well. You would expect that from Ford. I don't give them a pass on that by any means. Ford should know how to make a car handle well. They have really, really good cars. The Mustang in comparison, yeah, you have to have a good handling car. And when you put this battery and electric motor combo together, lower center of gravity, you should have a good handling car. And right now I'm on the highway, I'm cruising along 70 miles an hour, and it's incredibly smooth, incredibly quiet. I have the drive system engaged now, so it's kind of the middle of the road drive mode, and I have no complaints other than I guess the battery and the charge thing that I keep going back to. I hate to kind of harp on that, but it's something that I'm not used to. However, this is my first electric car experience for more than a couple days, and I see it drop quickly. Like when you watch your gas tank, it doesn't drop as quickly. So watching this battery power go away, like I started off today with 98% charge, and now I'm down to 90, and it's going to go to 89% here in a minute because I'm on the highway doing 70 miles an hour. The range is still relatively great at 200 miles, so you have 200 miles to drive. So I guess it's just something you have to get used to. Like anything else in life, when there's a change, you kind of have to roll with it and adjust and pivot your perspective. So if you're going to make the leap from, you know, regular car to an electric car, you're going to have to take that into consideration. That's just one of those things. But it's something I always look at and I think, wow, this is losing charge quicker than I thought it would. But I guess relatively speaking, it's not, because the way I'm driving it and the hills around here and the different factors that come in, there's a lot of different factors that give you that mileage rating. So I think everybody just needs to try it for themselves and see if it's something that they enjoy, something that they can deal with. If you're able to have a charging station installed into your home, that's really going to help with that as well. I'm going to pull off the highway up here and let's talk about some numbers and go from there. All right, guys, so let's talk numbers. We have some things here, some notes. Mustang information. This is the 21 Mach-E Premium all-wheel drive extended battery. Star white metallic tri-coat with the interior is called light space gray. This has the powertrain, an 88 kilowatt usable extended range battery, single speed transmission, and like I said before, the all-wheel drive. The MSRP on this is $49,700 with the added options of the all-wheel drive and the extended battery range. You're going to have an MSRP of $56,400. So it's just over $55,000, $56,000 to have this. The EPA estimated ranges are from 210 to 300 miles. I've never had more than 225 miles of range on this battery, fully charged. I've had it fully charged twice now. So the range is going to change, and it does change while you're driving down the road. So when you start to drive, say you start out with 225, as you're driving down the road and you're not going up and down a lot of hills, it's more of a flat surface, the mileage actually increases a couple miles here and there. So the car is sensing how you're driving, how you're applying the throttle, the way the car is going up and down hills or not going up and down hills, and it changes the mileage accordingly for that. The Mustang Mach-E combines the old Mustang styling with the new electric car styling. That's why they call it a Mustang. It's kind of a blend of the two things. It's a matter of opinion. My opinion is I don't like the name. I wish they called it something else. But that's just me being a car guy, and take it for what you will. There's a Ford mobile charger, which is what I showed you in the back earlier. It's the actual house plug charger with the big transformer on it, and it plugs into the car like you would at a normal charging station. It has that with the vehicle, so you can plug it into either household outlet, either a 120 or a 240, and charge the car that way. Obviously, it takes longer on a 120, and we figured that out this week. This screen is 15.5 inches long, and it's enormous. It has all of your settings, all of your controls, your HVAC, your stereo, your parking modes, your driving modes, your camera, your driver assistance. Everything is in this screen. And during the week that I've had this car, the screen has not malfunctioned at all. Sometimes these screens don't come on when you turn the car on. Sometimes they freeze while you're driving. This one has not done any of that, so I'm really impressed with that overall. And that's it for the numbers. All right, guys, pulling back onto the road for the last final thoughts. Final thoughts on the Ford Mustang Mach-E all-wheel drive. I love the feel. I love the refined interior. I love the lack of noise. I love the smooth acceleration. I love the high-tech features, the LED lighting, the puddle lights. I love the overall feel of the car. I'll be clear about that. I do not like how it's named Mustang. I do not like the lack of more indicators on your driver's instrument panel of what the vehicle's doing. I don't like that there's no shade for this and I can't open or close it. Other than that, I feel like this is a good vehicle. I feel like you're going to get used to it the more you have it. If you get a charging station installed into your home, you're going to like it. As the network increases, like the public network, charging network increases, you're going to have a better idea, a better time charging the vehicle on the fly. And I'm actually taking a little bit of a trip today with the kids, and we're going to be able to charge it kind of on our way back. I'm going to do that today and see how that goes, and then we'll go from there. But I give it a thumbs up. Overall, it's a really cool car. It has some features you have to get used to, but it's definitely something worth trying, taking a look at, especially at this price range. It's not that expensive for what you're getting. So with that being said, I'm going to sign off. Car Dad Bill, thanks a lot. Share, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Real cars, real people, for real life. Car Dad Bill.